This sport's sponsored by the San Diego Zoo. Lots happening over the last 24 hours. San Diego State gets a big win over Wyoming, 72-63. They'll be back on Saturday taking on Air Force, who brings in a record of 3-19. Per Kevin Acee, Joe Lacob, the owner of the Golden State Warriors, met with ownership last week about potentially buying the San Diego Padres, and SDFC won against Pumas 4-1 yesterday at Snapdragon. They'll be back to take the second leg of the game here in a week. And Anthony Davis has been traded once again to the Washington Wizards along with D'Angelo Russell. All February, guess
way.
AD, baby, on his way out of town. All February, guests 65 and older enter free at San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Enjoy the sights on the Africa Tram. Come face to face with tigers. Enjoy refreshments at Kijami Overlook. There's something for everyone. Guests must present their valid photo ID at any Safari Park ticket window to gain free admission. Parking is not included.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Wednesday. What's going on, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer is going to take over then. We got a busy one for you. Coach Kentera is going to be jumping on at 12:30 to react to the Padres news. Alan Sliwa at 1:30 to react to the NBA trade deadline coming up in just a couple of days. Plus, Sammy said it in his update, but SDFC picking up right where they left off. They took down the Pumas 4-1. More like Humas. Am I right? Am I right, boys? Woo, it was a good night at Snapdragon Stadium. It was a good night at Viejas Arena as we kick things off today. We are going to start with the Padres because if you missed it, last night, it was actually during the Aztecs game that I got this news. Dennis Lin released an article in The Athletic saying that the Padres and Sheil Seidler have figured everything out. All things are good. She's dropped most of the charges. I would assume there's a massive payout heading her way, and everything is clear on the Western Front. Ownership problem, ownership drama, ownership lawsuit, gone. Everything's taken care of. We're all copacetic once again. And that raised a red flag in my mind. I don't know about everyone else sitting out there, but as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, something's happening. Because you don't start clearing stuff up like that, and especially when both sides seemed as dug in as they were just a few weeks ago, you don't just clear something up like that unless something is imminent. Well, something was, because around, what time was that? 10 o'clock this morning, 10 o'clock or so, or maybe a little earlier, 9 o'clock. Kevin Acee released an article that also is detailing what's going on with Sheil Seidler and the San Diego Padres. And he also reiterates the fact that the lawsuit brought by Sheil Seidler against her late husband's brothers has been settled and everything is figured out and both sides are okay with moving forward. But Kevin Acee also added something in his article released today. And it's the fact that Joe Lacob, as early as last week, was in San Diego meeting with Padres ownership about a potential sale of the team. Now, according to Kevin Acee, he is the only publicly known suitor, Joe Lacob is, and Lacob met with the Padres officials in San Diego last week. Two league sources said that the group that Lacob heads is the leading suitor. Others involved in the process characterized that as not accurate. So it also says in Kevin Acee's article that this article will be updated. I will tell you, I texted with Kevin a little bit earlier today, and Kevin also said, I'd love to come on, but we're still figuring some things out. And so this article will be updated, and we'll see what is to come of it. But at the very least, maybe things with the sale of the Padres are moving a little quicker than we at least at first imagined. You remember when this lawsuit first got brought by Sheil Seidler, by the way? We talked to some people and we were like, yeah, 5 years down the line is when this thing's going to get settled. How about a year later? How about a year later? Everything is going to get figured out. Everyone's going to go their separate ways. And now potentially in weeks, I don't know, potentially in a year, the Padres will be sold to a new owner. And what does that mean for the Padres? You better hope Joe Lacob likes San Diego is all I got to say.
I'm looking at it as a positive thing because, again,
75% I'm with you. It's a positive thing.
His net worth, I believe, is $2.3 billion.
And it's a group of people. It's not just him.
It's a group, but he now the NBA is a different sport and that there's a salary cap, but obviously he knows something about winning, at least in the NBA. So he built in a fantastic dynasty, one of the great dynasties that we've seen, the National Basketball Association. I think people have this John Seidler is not Peter Seidler. Just because they have the same last name, Peter Seidler was all about spending money for this city and not talking about the team up north and trying to compete, even though not every move he made worked out. I think the Machado and Bogarts contract, the Padres, if you had their hand on a Bible, would want back. But he at least took big swings for the fences and put this team in a position where they are a perennial playoff team and they're a perennial threat in the postseason. John Seidler has not shown that. And John Seidler, even though, again, they share the same last name, it has not been that. He has rarely spoke to the public. It's been a lot of PR answers whenever he has. So I think this is the best thing that could have ever happened. I love that this is an accelerated process. I like that this is not being drug out because, to your point, Ben, I thought this was going to be 3-4 years, certainly till after the lockout. I mean, I thought it was like, well, there's no way, if assuming we don't have baseball next year, there's no way they would sell before then. If they could get this done beforehand, I mean, I think it completely changes the outlook for the Padres, and it makes sense why AJ Preller doesn't have a contract signed and why they haven't really been out there spending money at will in the offseason when they do. I know they're cash strapped, but they do have some money to spend, especially if Darvish gives back a lot of his contracts. So if this is happening, if this is an accelerated process, I'm all for it.
Now, I highly doubt that a sale of the Padres is going to happen before the season. That feels almost impossible. But it does seem like things are moving a bit quicker than everyone anticipated. And I'm not going to put it out of the question completely. Like, I think it's definitely there. And so maybe it's Joe Lacob, maybe it's somebody else, but definitely interesting timing for all of this to happen. And when you put in the fact that AJ Preller doesn't have a contract beyond next season, when you put into context that the Padres seem to be holding heading into this season, we'll see what happens with the free agent market and some pitchers. But as of right now, definitely newsworthy. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Text us 70470. Start your message with team. Hit us up on the Talkback mic on the free iHeartRadio app. Just open up, search San Diego Sports 760. Find that little red microphone icon in the top red right-hand corner. We will play any and all today.
Yes, we want to hear your talkbacks. Are you surprised this came out?
No, because I think that there are certain members in the Padres organization who would like this news out. I think there are certain members on, say, Joe Lacob's camp who would like this news out. I also think that you poke around enough right now, like we had that conversation with Darren yesterday, things are not steady heading into this season for the Padres. You know that AJ Preller, while he might say, look, I've just been busy trying to make the team better. I've been busy. That's why
it's an odd press conference.
That's why I haven't took 10 minutes to sign a contract. Like, things are not steady right now in the Padres organization. So I think that the Seidler brothers, love the fact that it's now out there that Shield Seidler caved, or at least that's the impression that some of us get. I think they love the fact that now Joe Lacob's name's attached to this. Hey, other billionaires, you want to chime in? We've already talked to this guy.
To that point, it kind of ups the pressure, because if Lacob, we had reports a couple months ago that he was going to be heavily interested. Now it seems official that he's obviously very interested. He's meeting with Padres officials. Then it's kind of like, who's going to be the highest bidder? And I mean, if you take the Padres at face value, I know there's a lot of debt. What are they, like $300 million in debt, something like that estimated?
It's closer to like 450.
Okay, 450. I mean, so there's a lot there. You have a lockout next season. You compete in a division with the Dodgers, who aren't going anywhere. But take that aside, a lot of times when people are buying franchises, it's franchises that people don't care about, are lacking a fan base, lack star power. The Padres are a unique position where you have stars. You have Fernando Tatis and Jackson Merrill, two young. Tatis is a superstar. Matt Merrill could be that at one point. Kind of aging stars in
Jackson Merrill?
Jackson Merrill.
Who's Matt Merrill?
Did I say Matt Merrill?
Yeah.
Okay, I meant Jackson Merrill.
It's okay.
Manny Machado, aging star, in a city that has already nationally been known as, this is one of the best home field environments in all Major League Baseball, with a beautiful ballpark built. So if you're an owner, if you're someone interested in buying the Padres, I think this team in this city would be very attractive, because you're not buying the Tampa Bay Rays, where you're like, we lack a fan base, we lack something to sell. The Padres have a lot there, and if you added a owner who can really sell something, who can really kind of add a little money and cash flow to this thing, you could be up there competing with the Dodgers one day.
It'd be huge. Now, Forbes values the Padres at $1.95 billion as of last March, but those numbers are generally agreed upon being low. This all according to Kevin Acee. Back in November, multiple sources with knowledge of recent team sales placed the Padres' value at more than $2.5 billion. based on recent sales around baseball. So we'll see whoever has that money coming in. But I do think this was a little bit of a flag up from the Padres camp saying, hey, billionaires, we are open for business. Joe Lacob wants us. What are you willing to put up? And we'll see what happens here. But interesting timing, to say the very least, on the Shield side of the news. All right, let's rip the big three here of our number one. Again, Coach Kentera coming up to react with us on this Padres news. And we'll also get to the Aztecs game from last night, as well as the SDFC win from last night. We got a lot going on here. So, Sammy, let's get to the big three. Go ahead, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Sammy, you used to have that $2.5 billion I lent you. I'm going to need that back. I'd like to go make a purchase here today.
Yeah, man. Seriously.
That'd be pretty cool.
If you were a billionaire like that, like, why wouldn't you want to own a professional sports team? Like, you can never spend that money.
Right.
So might as well, like, try to build a championship contender in some sport.
Absolutely buy a sports team and make sure I have really, really smart people around me who know what to do with the money that I have when I'm a billionaire in my dreams.
Texas 70470. Start your message with team. Anything today? Padres, Aztecs, NBA, a lot going on. SDFC. Let's head to the NBA first, though. So James Harden, last night, deal is official. He is on his way to Cleveland for Darius Garland in a second-round pick. Who won the trade, in your estimation?
The Oklahoma City Thunder won the trade. I saw that tweet earlier today. I thought it was hilarious because it doesn't really feel like the Clippers necessarily got better. It doesn't necessarily feel like the Cavs got better. But I would have to say the Clippers, just because I don't have a ton of faith in James Harden, especially down the stretch, especially in big games. So Clippers won the trade between those two teams, but it does feel like they may have just weakened the West a little bit by taking James Harden out of it, although I don't know if I'm the Clippers, I want James Harden in a postseason game. And Garland, I don't know, makes a massive impact for Los Angeles, but it does feel like OKC is the winner here.
I got to give the Clippers some credit because they kind of were able to recognize that even though they have the best record in basketball since Christmas, the team wasn't winning a title. And they just weren't. They don't play enough defense. And the Clippers' problem is they kind of had this odd timing where they built the Intuit Dome, and you want to have stars welcoming the dome. You want to put butts in seats. So losing James Harden and Kawhi Leonard at the time of that stadium becoming open didn't seem very attractive. You didn't want to have some scrub team and you're trying to sell out season tickets. So they probably did some deals and contracts with older aging players that they shouldn't have. Well, now you get a young star guard in Darius Garland. And to cut their losses and realize that James Harden at the age of 36, when you're not a championship contending team, is probably not going to help you to get a young, really talented guard back. I think that was a fantastic move by the Clippers. And I get it on Cleveland's side. Like, if you're Cleveland, you get a number two to run with Donovan Mitchell. Here's the problem, though. Donovan Mitchell hasn't always been the greatest playoff record. I don't think it's always been his fault. James Harden, in his last 3 Game 7s, have averaged 13 points per game. 13 points per game. So this is not a guy who's necessarily a closer at the end of games. This is still going to be Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley's show. Maybe he can kind of supplement that, but we will see in the offseason. All right, heading to the NFL, Frank Reich, offensive coordinator, signs with the Jets, kind of these OC positions filling up after Matt Nagy went to the Giants yesterday. What is your reaction to Frank Reich heading to New York?
I really like Frank Reich. I do. I think he's gotten some bad luck along the way. Remember, he was with Philly and was really successful with Philly. And then they bring in Doug Peterson, or Doug Peterson was his head coach and he was the offensive coordinator. And then he gets the Panthers job. And did anyone else feel like Frank Reich ever got a fair shot to build something in Carolina before they kind of ousted him? And then he bounced around a little bit. He was with the Colts for a little bit as a head coach. I felt the same way. Like, you ended up giving him Carson Wentz at one point. I just don't think that Frank Reich ever had a shot to succeed as a head coach. I love that he's back in the fold because I really do think the world of Frank Reich. And I know people who know Frank Reich closely, and they say this is one of the smartest offensive minds in all of football. And they also feel like he hasn't really had that shot to succeed after leaving Philadelphia.
I like this hire. I certainly like it better than Hackett going to the Cardinals. Sure. I don't understand that if you're Arizona, like, whatsoever at all. But in terms of New York, Frank Reich, I'm with you. He was a good head coach. I thought he put that Colts team in a position to win at times when they didn't necessarily have the greatest roster and greatest quarterback. We'll see what happens here. The Jets, it's just funny with the Jets because think about who they've drafted over the years. Like Quinnen Williams. They drafted Leonard Williams before. Sauce Gardner. They drafted Garrett Wilson. Breece Hall. Like, they have actually had some success at certain skill positions and on defense. They just haven't had a quarterback. And again, this goes back to you hire a defensive minded head coach in Aaron Glenn, which I don't totally understand when you're trying to kind of resurrect the offense. The Jets aren't on paper, don't have a horrible roster. It's just that there's so much cloud over that franchise in what quarterback wants to go there, because every quarterback has simply been ruined. If I was Kyler Murray in the Jets, I think there's a possible reunion there in terms of maybe he gets a second chance and you're able to kind of resurrect a little bit of his career. But I like the offense. Maybe he can stabilize things. But if Aaron Glenn doesn't get it turned around, I certainly think Reich could take the head coaching job next year.
We got one more?
Yep, we're headed to San Diego State. San Diego State gets a 9-point victory over Wyoming last night. What was your number one thing that stood out to you about the Aztecs last night?
The defense is all the way back for San Diego State. Defensively, they're playing about as good as they have all year. And I would include the Utah State game in that as well. Utah State just hit some big shots down the stretch. But last night, the defense was fantastic. Reese and Waters was incredible. Should have been a 12-point win, which would have done a lot for the Aztecs metrically. Would have done a lot for some, as Al Michaels would say. But at the last second
Yes.
of the game, there was a shot that went in. It was a three-pointer at the very end that was kind of a meaningless prayer that Wyoming just sort of threw up at the end and made it a 9-point game, which doesn't kill them in the metrics, but it certainly didn't help them the way a 12-point win would have, which is the crappy thing about college basketball, is so much of it comes down to numbers, and it doesn't matter how the three goes in. It just matters that the three went in. But I do have an update from a bracketologist that I'll give you on the other side. How about that, Sammy? With where San Diego State stands right now.
That's called a tease, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was just a game that the Padres had to, or not the Padres, the Aztecs had to win. That was just a game that it's not necessarily you're going to be moving up a lot in the metrics. They didn't. They were 12.5-point favorites in Vegas. They won by 9, so they actually kind of stayed right around there.
Yeah,
but
the spread, it's probably partially my fault. I say this stuff all the time, like favored by. So what I'm referring to in that stuff is KenPom's projections.
Right.
Because KenPom projections often mirror the Vegas spread. I actually think it's the other way around. I think the Vegas spread mirrors KenPom predictions. But that's the number you're looking for. And so KenPom had them winning that game by 12 points.
Right. So you win by 9, you drop a little bit. But that was, at the end of the day, they're not going to look back at that. You just had to win the game. And you kind of got to, until LZ Harrington and Magoon Guath are back in this thing and really fully healthy, it's been living on Reese and Waters and Miles Bird. Reese and Waters fantastic last night with 23. I give Miles Bird a lot of credit. He only took 6 shots, 3 of 6, had chipped in with 12 points. But you see how talented of a player Miles Bird is when it's not his offensive scoring night, because he can be the number one on a team.
3 blocks last night. For
3
Miles.
blocks, 8 rebounds. A lot of guards and wing players don't do that. Like simply, it's like I'm gonna get mine. I'm gonna score. Miles Bird does all the dirty work, which is why I think a lot of NBA teams are gonna look at him next year. This team kind of surviving until Magoon Guath and LZ Harrington get back, because it's kind of been a collection of a bunch of other, just everyone's chipping in. But like Heidi at 7, Farrell Compton at 8. No one's really standing out from that bench. But when the depth is back a little bit with LZ and Magoon, I think this team can take off. But they got to pick off some of these road wins in New Mexico the next couple weeks.
Yeah, just a quick PSA. If you are an Aztec fan who's thought about donating and being a part of the NIL fund for this team, watch Tay Simmons play in the first half for about 6 minutes. He completely took over the game. And understand Tay Simmons is about to cost a pretty penny to keep. And that dude is more Aztec-like than any Aztec I've seen since probably Matt Mitchell, Lamont Butler. Those guys were in the program. Tay Simmons is that dude. And I would love to see him stay in Aztec for a few years. But it's going to cost, because there's a lot of teams that are going to want Tay Simmons. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Full bracketology update. I was texting with a guy a little earlier today who knows his stuff, and we'll give it to you on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. you want to watch the show, a couple ways for you to do it. YouTube at San Diego Sports 760, on X at Fletch and Sammy. Our buddy Rich on YouTube saying there was a Wyoming fan at the Aztec game last night wearing a Josh Allen jersey. We gave him the stink eye for Sammy.
Rich. Yes, sir, Rich.
Goodness gracious.
Rich knows what quarterbacks don't choke in the postseason.
Or what quarterbacks are even in the postseason. Steven on YouTube saying dropped 2 spots in KenPom, 43 to 45. Yeah, they stayed the same in net, dropped 2 in KenPom, so 45 in both metrics as of right now. Steven also saying Tay Simmons had a really nice spin move and bucket. There was about a 6-minute stretch in the first half where Tay Simmons completely took over the game. And like seeing the future that he has is pretty cool. Text line 760 says, as long as the Padres' new owners aren't on the Epstein files, any billionaire should be good. LOL.
I didn't know that we were going to read that text, but we did.
A little too soon, but I would agree. It'd probably be bad if you did have never mind. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer's going to text or take over then. If you would like to text the show, 70470. Start your message with the word team. Coach Kentera is coming up in a few minutes here to react to this Padres news. But I'll tell you a conversation I was having with a bracketologist earlier today. He essentially said San Diego State's got to go 7-1 over the last 8 games in Mountain West regular season. And the losses, or the loss, singular, can either come at Colorado State, at New Mexico, or at Boise State. You got to hold serve at home, win the rest of them, and that's tough. You got Grand Canyon and Utah State still coming to Viejas Arena, and you can accept one more loss, but it's got to be one of those road games and not the road game at Air Force, because that would be a disaster. This is the first time all year, by the way, the schedule has worked out in San Diego State's favor. So they get Air Force this weekend, and then they get a week off before they play again. And then it's a brutal stretch to end the season.
Well, that's why it's like, it's us as Aztec fans are going to look back at that Grand Canyon game, and we know the call at the end was brutal. The calls, plural. Yes, multiple bad calls in that game. Then you have Utah State, Aztecs battled, tough one on the road, but when this is where you go back to the Players Era tournament. Last year, it's funny how it's inverse of last year's team. Last year's team was fantastic in the Players Era tournament, had that win over Houston, which was kind of their calling card. They had that the rest of the way, but they kind of faltered down the stretch in Mountain West Conference play. This year's team did not show up very well in the Players Era tournament, but has been better in the Mountain West. You know, it's a close loss in Utah, taking on Utah State, close loss to Grand Canyon. But the problem, though, with not having those signature wins early is these losses hurt a little bit more. So to your point, they have to basically be lights out at home, and they got to pick off some of these tough road victories. The Aztecs made it a little bit tougher on themselves. I certainly think they can do it, but the health of Elsie Harrington and Mugun Guath are certainly a big factor in whether I think that they're going to go 7-1 or not.
That's why the week off helps. And look, Air Force hasn't had a win in conference yet. You should be able to just pencil that one in. I hesitate to pencil anything in the Mountain West, but you should be able to pencil it in. And then you have the week off, and then it's a brutal stretch of games. But for San Diego State, as of right now, they are still firmly in the bubble conversation. You go 7-1, I think you entrench yourself into the NCAA tournament. Anything less than that, you are still a bubble team.
858 says, hey, gents, Kurt up here in the Bay Area. What's up, Kurt? Let's see. Not unimpressed with the Aztecs game last night. I just don't think they possess the it factor. The rebounding continues to be an issue.
Huge issue. And how much of that is Mugun Guath being on the bench when you really think about it? It's not even that Mugun is a great rebounder. He isn't.
Well, that's what I was going to give to Kurt is that's not really what you point to is why Mugun Guath should be on the floor.
For sure. But he takes up so much space that it allows for other people to rebound around him. Like that's the box score isn't always telling the story with Mugun Guath, because it's not just the block shots, it's the shots he influences. It's not just the rebounds he gets, it's the rebounds he influences. Without him on the floor, it hurts the team in a million different ways.
It also, to your point about Mugun Guath being out there really helps them offensively rebounding, because with Mugun Guath out there, you're able to key on Heidi and Compton, these guys, whereas Mugun Guath a lot of the time is drawing a double team. So you're kind of you're big that's dropping down low can get some easy rebounds around the rim. Yes, I think it's a little bit of combination of both. Mugun needs to get back, but the team could do a little bit better job of team rebounding and not giving the other team second chance opportunities.
That was everything in the loss to Utah State was just rebounding. Our buddy Jamar jumping in right now. He says, just wasted half my day at jury duty, but locked in now. Let's go, fellas. Sammy's biggest dream in life is to be a juror.
Look at Jamar doing his civil service.
You want on like a murder case though, don't you?
I was there and I was so bummed when they let me go. I'm serious. I was like really wanting something juicy that I couldn't talk about.
We got Coach Kentera coming up next, and then we'll discuss Sammy's court cases open against him and the ones he's sitting on.
Yes, pending.
Coach Kentera on the other side. Let's react to some Padres news with the coach. That's next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Per Kevin Acee, the Padres met with Golden State Warriors owner Joe Lacob last week. He could potentially buy the San Diego Padres. Last night, Aztecs got a 9-point victory over the Wyoming Cowboys, 72-63. They improved to 16-6 on the season. They'll be taking on Air Force this Saturday, who bring in a record of 3-19. STFC won 4-1 over Pumas yesterday and the Kings have just traded for star forward Panarin from the New York Rangers in the NHL. Wish you could save on home insurance. With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Yep, it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Things are starting to get hot with the San Diego Padres. The Kevin Acee article has been updated within the last 10 minutes. 2 more names have entered into the group chat. So if you missed the news, last night, Dennis Lin released an article saying Shiel Seidler and the Seidler brothers have finished their feud. Everything has been settled. Everyone's copacetic as of right now, which I'm assuming means Shiel Seidler just cashed herself a nice check. And then today, Kevin Acee releases an article saying what Sammy just told you. Joe Lacob, the owner of the Warriors, is the only publicly known suitor, and he's met with the Padres as of the last week about buying the team. Well, 2 more names have come up. Jose Feliciano and Dan Friedkin. Dan Friedkin, born here in San Diego, worth $9.7 billion, by the way. And then Jose Feliciano, who owns Chelsea soccer team, the Premier League club Chelsea, who he owns that team, and maybe he's interested in the Padres too. I think his net worth is around, I pulled it up, $4.4 billion. Woo! So we got some rich boys in the chat. With that, we bring on another rich boy, Coach Kentera. What's going on, Coach? Have you put forward your name to buy the Padres?
No, but I'm kind of anxious to see if and when they're able to pull this thing off. You know, you mentioned the Shield situation. There are a couple things they still got to iron out. She dropped a majority of the lawsuit that she filed last year, and there are a couple things. Number one, how the money's going to be distributed from the trust, and she wants an accounting of everything that's gone on. But it sounds like they've buried the hatchet for the most part, and hopefully everybody's able to move on. Hopefully it's not going to hamstring this organization as a not only a media member but as a fan. I don't want any of this stuff off the field to affect what's going on the field, and that means, you know, payroll. Are they going to be able to do a little more or a little bit less? I don't know, but it'll be interesting to track and get more information as the day goes by today on all 3 of these owners. I know a little bit about Lacob, obviously owning Golden State, and he's wanted a ball club for a long period of time. He wanted the Giants, but they wouldn't sell it to him. And, you know, there was talk a couple of weeks ago in Barry Bloom's article, and that was more, I think, to get everybody hot and bothered in San Diego more than anything else, but about, you know, moving them, you know, somewhere maybe up in the Bay Area. That's not going to happen. This ball club ain't going anywhere. Why would you buy this ball club and move with the fan base they have? It'd be crazy. They got a beautiful ballpark. They got as good a ballpark as there is in baseball, and the Padre fans are as loyal as the day is long. I mean, I can't see that ever being a possibility the way the fans come out and support this organization.
Coach, the AJ Preller kind of contract situations went a little bit under the radar the last couple months. He just spoke recently and kind of talked about how he hasn't had the time and kind of gave an interesting press conference there. Do you think this is related to this, or do you think that's something different?
Oh, I think there's a whole lot of things going on behind the scenes, Sam. I mean, I thought AJ did a good job of covering for the organization the other day more than anything else. I mean, you know, he got a little bit of time. The guy works nonstop, but you know what? I don't really think his contract is going to be all that difficult. They know him. They know what he's done for the organization. I don't think he's asking for a ransom as far as money. You know, it's something that probably should have been worked out by now, but I thought AJ handled that question on FanFest very, very well and very professional.
Well, what do you think's going on there with AJ specifically? We talked to Darren Smith yesterday. He seemed to think that maybe there was a time where AJ might have been looking around at some other jobs. Maybe this is waiting for what's going to be happening in 2027 with baseball. Maybe it's tied in with the ownership group. What do you think most likely is going on with AJ in regards to the Padres?
Well, first of all, personally, I like AJ Preller a great deal. Him and I probably disagree from time to time on certain moves he's made, but that's okay. That's what baseball's all about. And that's why you have, you know, advanced scouts and special assistants. You want to get a variety of different opinions. This guy's sharp. He's done a good job here, considering a lot of times he's had handcuffs on to a certain degree. Early in his tenure, they threw money around pretty freely. But, the last 3-4 years have been a little bit different. And he's had to adjust, and I think he's done a damn good job. He's put a very, very presentable ball club on the field. I think arguably, a lot of people are disappointed we haven't had that big signing during the off year. But you know what? I think starting the season this year, as long as everybody stays healthy, we got a better ball club going into this year than we did a year ago. Definitely in the outfield, you're going to have a healthy Jackson Merrill. I would hope Fernando's going to be better. We got Ramon Laureano over Jason Hayward and Brandon Lockridge out there in left field. So that's going to help. And the infield's pretty much the same, except first base, Gavin Sheets, who had 19 dingers and drove in 71. And you can say, is it an upgrade over Luis Ariz? Well, probably power-wise, but I like Luis Ariz. I'm a big fan of his and wish him the very, very best. And the catching situation's in a much better shape with Freddie Fermin being your frontline backstop over Martin Maldonado and Elias Diaz. So the everyday lineup should be pretty good. We'll figure out who the DH is. But, getting back to AJ's done a good job here. And I think he loves San Diego. He likes playing basketball at all hours of the morning. He gets up. He gets more basketball in before most people even get up because he loves playing pickup basketball. And you said that, maybe he was looking around. I don't think he's looking around. He loves this community, okay? He flat out loves this community, wants to stay here. There was a rumor about 5 weeks ago that maybe the Dallas Mavericks were looking to hire him to run their basketball operations. And I said, you know what? He's one guy in baseball that could probably definitely do that because he pays attention to what's going on in basketball. So, I wish him the best. Hopefully they get that thing worked out before too far into spring training. But you know what? Unless they're going to pull the trigger on a new owner here real soon, I think he's got to get that contract extension. I don't want this to be a rudderless ship.
There's been a lot made. The Padres certainly need another starter. Yu Darvish could be voiding his contract, giving some money back. Coach, if it was up to you, if you were running this team, who would you go after? Would it be Valdez? Would it be Lytle, Verlander, Martinez? There's been a lot of names thrown out there. What pitcher would you think would make the most sense for the Padres?
Well, last year, Sammy, I watched Scherzer and I watched Verlander pretty closely, and I know Scherzer started Game 7 for Toronto. I think I would shy away from him a little bit. Now, I will tell you this. If you look at Verlander's numbers last year, the first half, he was awful, absolutely awful, 5.77 ERA. And then all of a sudden something happened. He changed something up, or I don't know what to explain, but, I'd have to look at some of the internal numbers on him. But he would probably be a guy I'd be interested in bringing in here. And they're saying he's probably going to get in the neighborhood of about $15 million. I think he brings a lot to the table. Not only I think he can still pitch and get people out, but I think having a presence of a Justin Verlander, definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I know Bill Belichick wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer and should have been, but Verlander definitely will be. I think that would add a lot to this organization if they could bring him in. Valdez is kind of interesting. I like Graham Valdez a great deal on the mound, but apparently he's been a little bit of a problem in the clubhouse down there in Houston. So I think that's why a lot of teams are maybe shying away from him.
Coach, you think the Seidler family owns the Padres come the start of this season?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to get everything, all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. It's going to take a period of time. And then, of course, you got to get the owners to vote and approve the new owner as well. So, maybe during the season, but, we'll have to wait and see. Everybody likes to be a looky-loo, but then when they really get in there and start seeing not just the price they got to pay, but all the things you got to pay to go along with it, a farm system, all the travel, and, some of these guys, obviously, that have already owned professional ball clubs, they understand that going in, but there's a lot to it. And again, you got to get Major League Baseball and all the other owners to sign off on this.
Man, this Dan Friedkin guy kind of seems like a home run to me. Born in San Diego, has a bunch of Toyota dealerships, sold like $11.4 billion worth of Toyotas. He makes movies. He has places in Cabo. It kind of seems like the guy's worth $9.9 billion, Coach. That's seems rich enough to handle it.
Well, Fletch, I'll tell you what, nothing against Mr. Feliciano or Mr. Lacob, but being a hometown boy, born and bred here in San Diego, there'd be nothing better for me. And I think a lot of Padre fans to have a San Diego owner.
Coach, flipping to the Aztecs real quick. What'd you make of their win last night over Wyoming by 9? Do you think this team makes the tournament as an at-large bid?
Going to be tough. They still got some tough games. They still got to go to New Mexico. They got Utah State. They got to go to Moby Arena. Not that Colorado State's fantastic, but they can beat you in their home court. So, they got some work to do. Hopefully they don't have a hiccup on this weekend against Air Force. Air Force having all kinds of problems right now. But, they played better last night. But from one game to the next, I'm still a little bitter about what happened Saturday up in Logan. And by the way, for Aztec fans, and I'm sure they're well aware of it, and I know you two guys are, tonight, 8 o'clock, I think it's on FS1, we got Utah State going in the pit to take on Eric Olin and the New Mexico Lobos. So one team's going to come out of that game tied with San Diego State. The other team is going to fall a game behind both whoever wins tonight and the Aztecs. So a good little Wednesday night basketball, late night at 8 o'clock tonight.
Homework, Mountain West after dark. Going to be fun. Coach, appreciate your time, man. I'm sure we'll have you on 5 more times to talk about this Padres situation because we'll see how quickly they all want to move with it.
Hey, Fletch, whenever the phone rings and I see it's you two guys, I can't get to the phone quick enough.
How about that?
Coach.
How about that? That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me, and I don't think people have said too many nice things to me. So thank you, Coach. We appreciate you.
Hey, be well, Fletch. Sammy, have a good day.
All right, there he goes. Coach Kentera, legend here in San Diego, reacting to this Padres news. I think what we do in hour 2 of the show today is we'll find some dating game music and we'll present the 3 options that we know about so far to buy the Padres. And we'll got to introduce everybody to the text line and see what we all think based on the resumes. But, man, there's some good options out there. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Take a quick break here. Long shots on the other side. It's Sammy's job to make us all some money. Let's get to it. That's next on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you. We will continue to react to any news that comes out about the San Diego Padres. If you missed it, Kevin Acey's article has 3 names in it now of people who are reportedly interested in purchasing the San Diego Padres. Joe Lacob is the first one who apparently met with the Padres last week in San Diego, by the way, but he owns the Warriors. He appears to be interested, and some people are saying he's the leading suitor to buy the Padres. Sportico had a report earlier today, Kevin Acey reporting the same thing, saying Jose Feliciano, who owns Chelsea, the Premier League soccer team, and Dan Friedkin, who was born in San Diego. I don't think he lives here anymore. He owns Gulf Coast Toyota, sold $11.4 billion worth of Toyotas last year, and he owns a couple of soccer teams as well in the Premier League. And he born in San Diego, but he was also the guy who financed Flowers of the Killer Moon, the Leo movie. I never saw that movie. Heard good things.
Hell yeah. Listen, the richer, the better.
He's the richest. He's worth almost $10 billion.
I mean, that's real money. Listen.
Yeah, because $2 billion isn't real money.
Yeah, that's
cheap.
It's cheap. 2.3 is nothing. What Peter was 3.5, right? I believe Peter Schuyler was worth 3.5 bill.
I'm not positive.
I'll check that, but I believe it was 3.5 billion. But someone who comes in with 10, like we got into it earlier. It's like, and Coach said it. It's a different. If you're buying the Padres, you're buying an organization with stars, young talent, and a rabid fan base and a great ballpark. This is not a team that you're buying that's like, we got to redo the stadium. Then we got to go out and buy stars, and we got to do all this. Someone who could buy out some of these bad contracts and really start young with the core of Merrill and Tatis. That's exciting for the city of San Diego.
Man, this music ripping in the background was beautiful underneath you.
You like a little Maxi Priest close to you?
That was really nice.
I just want to be close to you.
We shouldn't even do a show. You should just do karaoke the rest of the way. You have a voice of an angel. It's like a mix between Fergie and Jesus.
A little 90s R&B for us today on a Wednesday. Before
we get to long shots here, which we need a winner today, Sammy. We had
a tough day last night.
Let's see. Cobra in the chat says, don't want Joe Lacob. Dan Friedkin would be a better choice. I'll tell you, based on like 10 minutes of Google search, I would kind of agree with you. Lori on YouTube saying the Padres won't move, and maybe one of these billionaires will buy the Chargers as well, build them a stadium and bring them back to San Diego where they belong. It's ridiculous that they're in LA. Wouldn't that, dude, totally hypothetical. Don't think it's going to happen, but imagine Dan Friedkin goes, buys the Chargers, moves them back down, buys the Padres, and we have both of them back in San Diego. Be unreal. Never going to happen, but would be unreal. Your microphone's off, Sammy.
It's hard to talk on the radio when your microphone's off. But yeah, that would be obviously. I don't know how logical that is to happen, but it would be fantastic. We would love to see the Chargers being in LA. We've talked about it ad nauseum. Makes zero sense whatsoever.
And I do think they'd be welcomed back as long as a certain someone wasn't involved. Like our buddy Jay Silves is saying, that ultimately would be the golden scenario, Lori, given all the stars align one magical night. Unfortunately, Dean and Sons won't sell unless forced.
I want like Jacksonville to move to San Diego, because then the Chargers, it would be like they would be the remaining San Diego fans who still like them would then be Jacksonville fans.
Just kick the Chargers out of the NFL and then build a new stadium and bring a new team into San Diego.
I mean,
I'm on board for
the
that.
NFL loves them some Jay Herb and Jim Harbaugh.
Players can stay.
Herbert can stay.
Coach can stay. I'm all right with Jim Harbaugh.
I thought you didn't like Jim Harbaugh.
I don't.
It's time to San Fran.
Also, even if the Chargers moved back here, I don't think I would become a Chargers fan. Steven on YouTube saying, please don't sing.
Steven, listen, I think you're watching on YouTube, so you didn't hear the song underneath.
Sure.
It's better if Maxi Priest is underneath, giving a little falsetto, and I'm coming over the top of it. So I understand you from a karaoke perspective, but with a little background music, it's better. Chime in 70470. Start your message with team. Was my voice good?
I just say, please don't sing. Do you remember back in the day, all the drama about LeBron? I can't remember who said it, but somebody said, just shut up and dribble. Sammy, just shut up and make us some money. Let's get to long shots, baby.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Pay that man his money.
With long shots.
All right, San Diego. I apologize for long shots yesterday. We had a tough outing yesterday.
I hadn't even opened the app until you just said it.
The Mavs almost backdoor covered for us. The Magic got absolutely blown out in Oklahoma City. I thought that was going to be a win. But I got some winners for us.
The Denver-Detroit over hit.
Yes, the over on that one hit. So we went 1 for 3. Nuggets Knicks. Okay, tonight, very fun matchup. 4:00 on ESPN. We're going Knicks -5.5. So both teams played yesterday. The Nuggets lost a really tough one. Again, they hit the over against Detroit. They could score a lot of points, but they had to play all their starters late into that game. Jokic still coming back off that injury. Knicks beat the Wizards 132-101 last night. They're rested. Josh Hart is a game-time decision, but regardless, I think that they win. They cover at the Garden tonight. The Knicks are playing some really good basketball, and they're going to be able to. They have the tools to really shut down Jamal Murray. -5.5 for the New York Knicks. All right, we're going under 210.5 in Celtics Rockets. People might go, Sammy, what? Jaylen Brown, Kevin Durant,
Sammy, what?
Şengün, what? Very talented teams. These are two of the best defensive teams in the league. Now, Houston doesn't have a point guard. That's why I think some people are a little cautious about their championship aspirations, but they are the tallest starting lineup in the league with an average height of 6'6". Jabari Smith doesn't get talked about enough. Şengün, if it wasn't for Jokic, would be one of the most talked about bigs in the league. Kevin Durant's fantastic. They kind of go, and Amen Thompson has become a superstar. But the Celtics, a lot of people thought when Jason Tatum went down, the Celtics were gonna kind of regress. This is what happens when you're a great franchise like the Boston Celtics. You just know how to get talent. Neemias Queta came out of nowhere. He's their center. He's been fantastic for them. Jaylen Brown shows you why he is a true number one on a championship winning team. Peyton Pritchard, excellent three-point shooter. Given all that, they're still an excellent defensive team. Jaylen Brown is one of the best defenders in the NBA, and Amen Thompson's one of the best defenders in the NBA on the other side. I like the under in this game. Celtics coming off playing last night against Dallas. I think this is more of a defensive slugfest. Under 210.5. And then we're going to go Cavs Clippers. So obviously the big trade. James Harden is going to Cleveland. Garland in LA. Neither are playing tonight, but I like the Clippers. Cleveland -2.5 in Los Angeles tonight. Clippers, the Clippers aren't getting enough love for getting Garland. Like I actually think they won the deal. Now I understand the Cavs' thought process. They need a pure number 2 to go alongside Donovan Mitchell because he hasn't really had that. Max Strus, their star winger, has been out for most of the season, for the entire season so far. Will Evan Mobley be able to step up in the postseason? But the Clippers here, I think they're the side +2.5 at home. Two very even teams with both of their stars out. Kawhi is still playing for the Clippers. Zubac is going to be tough for the Cavs to deal with, especially with Evan Mobley out. I think the Clips cover here at home +2.5. So to recap, Clippers +2.5 at home. I like the under on Celtics Rockets, two of the best defensive teams in the NBA, and the Celtics second night of a back-to-back. And I like the Knicks to cover against the Nuggets tonight, -5.5. I think Brunson has a field day against that Nuggets defense.
I like it a lot. Sammy. Hopefully we're making some money come tomorrow. Hey, by the way, this upcoming Friday, stop what you're doing and write this down. KMB Bistro, starting at 6 a.m., but if you can't make it then, it continues at 12 noon. We are having lunch with all of you. Come on out to KMB Bistro in Del Cerro. We're going to be talking sports, hyping up the big game, which is coming up this upcoming weekend, and lots of other fun. We got a signed Aztec football to give away. We'll have some tickets to give away, and pizza for everybody who comes. So get on out to KMB Bistro in Del Cerro. The big game tailgate coming up on Friday. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch from 6 to 10. Me and Sammy from noon to 2. It's going to be a party down at KMB Bistro. We'd love to see.
Come on out. We want to see you.
What's the code word, Sammy?
Josh Allen PR team.
If you say that, if you whisper it deep into Sammy's ear.
Well, I didn't say that.
Deep into Sammy's ear. He will start singing a song for you, and
we'll buy you drinks. We'll buy you drinks.
We'll go on my tab. All right, San Diego Sports 760. We got hour number 2 coming up next. Alan Sliwa is going to be jumping on, and we got a lot more fun. We're going to play a dating game with the Padres' new owners. That's next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. February is a big month at Valley View Casino and Hotel. It is a big month. Valentine's Day is coming up. They got all sorts of specials going on, especially at the Black and Blue Steakhouse. But coming up on Friday, February 13th, you can join Valley View Casino and Hotel for Dave's $250,000 weekend windfall happening Friday, February 13th. You could be one of 10 guests who's going to spin to win $25,000. That's right. 10 guests could walk away with 25 G's each. Plus, more play will be awarded throughout the night. You can earn entries all month long on slot or table games and activate your entry multiplier at our guest service kiosks located throughout the casino. And then you got to be there on February 13th from 5 to 10 for your chance to win. While you're there, don't forget to sign up for the Players Club. Signing up is always quick, easy, and free. And when you join the Players Club, you're going to get over $200 in free offers to use at San Diego's favorite casino, including $10 of more play, $10 of match play, $20 to the Black and Blue Steakhouse. The list goes on and on. When you upgrade your card from red card to blue card, you're going to get 2 free Maine lobster buffets when you get that upgrade, which I am very close to. Cannot wait for that. Complimentary dining, free hotel stays, luxury gifts, invitations to exclusive events, and more come with your players card. So don't miss out. Visit the Valley View Casino and Hotel on February 13th for Dave's $250,000 weekend windfall giveaway. And join the Ultimate Players Club to get over $200 in free offers today. To learn more, visit valleyviewcasino.com. All guests 21 and over are invited to enjoy the casino, restaurant, and hotel.
The sport is sponsored by the San Diego Seals. Aztecs got to win 72 to 63. The sport is sponsored by the San Diego Seals. Aztecs got a big win last night, 72 to 63 over Wyoming. They'll be back on Saturday on the road, taking on Air Force. SDFC got a big win, 4-1 over Pumas last night. They'll be back on the 10th, taking them on the road for the second part of their series. And Anthony Davis traded to the Washington Wizards for a combination of Chris Middleton and a bunch of picks. The Philadelphia 76ers also have traded star young second-year player Jared McCain to Oklahoma City for 4 picks. Rock the Box night is coming to Pechanga Arena this Saturday, February 7th at 7 p.m. The San Diego Seals bring the hits on and off the floor with high-energy lacrosse, rock anthems, and nonstop action. Grab your tickets now and rock the box with the Seals, sealslax.com.
San Diego Sports 760. It's hour number 2 here on the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John Schaefer is going to take over then. We got plenty to get to in hour number 2 here as we got Padres news all over the place. So coming up in just a little bit, we're going to play a little bit of a dating game with some of the names that are being thrown around as potential Padres owners. We'll tell you what you need to know about them, and you can decide which bachelor you're taking home. Going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do that in just a little bit here. We do want to start this hour off by letting you know Padres and Shiel Seidler, they have settled everything between them, and it sounds like things are copacetic, or at least on the way to being copacetic between the two sides after that lawsuit kind of struck. What was that, a year and a half ago at this point that we first found out about it? But that seems like it's kind of in the past now. And so the Padres, who we found out about 3 months ago that they were going to be put up for sale, or I guess that was even back further than that. It was when we were at the blood drive was actually the day that news came down. But Joe Lacob's name has been thrown around over the last couple of weeks. The new names that are being thrown around, Jose Feliciano and Dan Friedkin. Dan Friedkin was born in San Diego. I think he operates out of Houston now. He owns a couple of soccer teams. He also owns a massive Toyota group. And as our text line pointed out, the taco squad rolls thick. I drive a Tacoma. So Dan Friedkin, you might have my vote. But there's some big money being thrown around here. And I think it's important to note that this is all moving very, very quickly for the Padres. And we're probably going to get a lot of news today, and then the news is going to stop for about 6 months. And then we might find out some more. I would agree with Coach Kentera, who we had on a little bit earlier today. I don't think anything happens before the season begins, but I do think it might happen before the lockout, because I think the Seidler family would like to be out of baseball by the time the lockout gets here. Sammy, big day for news.
Yes, massive day for news, and selling before the lockout. I don't know if it. I'm not sure. I'm totally speculating. Does this depress the market a little bit, knowing that the first person who buys it is going to have a season without baseball? Likely, like maybe they're able to get it a little bit cheaper,
potentially. But now you have a bidding war,
right? Maybe a bidding war. Listen, it's great that you have all these guys interested. And I said this hour 1. John Seidler is not Peter Seidler. Peter Seidler was writing checks. Peter Seidler was like, you know what? I don't care if we have the money. We're spending money to go try to beat the Dodgers. John Seidler has not shown that same aptitude. Like, just because he has the same last name as him, he has not shown that. We've barely heard from him. Heard from him like 3 times.
One of them was a letter.
I mean,
that was telling you he's trying to sell the team.
Right. So it's not like John Seidler, he kind of got thrust into this thing and then obviously with the whole Shield Seidler suing them back, just a lot of drama to kind of wipe the slate clean and have someone come in here who has a bunch of money and is interested in having the Padres compete at the highest level, and knowing that they're already a top 10 payroll in baseball, but you'd like to see them add to the team. That's why John and I were talking yesterday. I stayed on an hour with him.
Schaefer or Seidler?
Schaefer. Okay. Schaefer. It's like, if you look at the Padres, like Coach said, Padres have a good team. Like the Padres
That's a playoff squad. I got them around 86, 87 wins.
Right. I think where people's frustration comes in is it's a lot of running the same team back every year. And they have a shot every year. They really do. But it's like you feel like if they just had a little bit more money, if they went a little bit more all in, you could really make a case that you're a legit threat in the NL. And it kind of feels like the Padres are holding steady while other teams like the Diamondbacks, the Giants, the Mets certainly are trying to go after the Dodgers. A lot of teams are kind of gearing up for that. You feel like if the Padres were able to get new ownership, get in here, kind of wipe the slate clean, they really might be able to go do something and compete with the Dodgers in the division for the foreseeable future.
Going to be interesting, man. You kind of feel like maybe right now the Padres are trending more towards the Pittsburgh Steelers than the Kansas City Chiefs, where it's like you think the Chiefs are going to be right back in it in the next couple of years, but the Steelers have been middling out. And the Padres, you look at their farm system, and it's top 30 in baseball. That's cool, but the Padres farm system is nothing to write home about anymore. So maybe they do need a little bit of a tank job, but we'll see. And potentially new ownership. Again, I'm like 75% sure that's a good thing for the Padres, but that 25% still looms in the back.
It can't be any worse than what John's done.
That's not true. It can absolutely be worse. It can absolutely be
How
worse.
can it be worse? They haven't done anything.
It can be worse because it could be John Fisher. It could be somebody trying to look to move the Padres somewhere. It could be worse because it could be somebody who's literally only obsessed with collecting a paycheck and nothing else.
Okay, well that's kind of what John's doing.
Well, I mean, is it? The Padres were top 5 in payroll last year.
But that was due to Peter.
Sure, but
that was not due. Well, I mean, what has he done? The only contracts that have big contracts are Pivetta.
They did it, and Michael King did it.
it was a backloaded contract that was basically a 2-year deal. The Michael King deal this year, 3 year, $75 million, basically a 1 year, $25 million deal, $25 million deal.
Absolutely.
With opt-outs.
It could be worse.
How? Outside of them moving the team, which why would you move the team? Because you have a massive fan base and a great ballpark and a team that shows a fan base in a city that shows up to every game.
We know all of that. The Chargers had that same thing, and the Chargers got moved because their valuation is bigger somewhere else.
Okay, right. But LA didn't have a football team at the time.
Correct.
You're not moving to LA because the Dodgers own Los Angeles.
I would agree, but Portland has been mentioned. Oakland has been mentioned. Like
Portland is not bigger than San Diego.
I agree. Sammy, you're preaching to the choir here. I'm just saying there is a chance that whoever comes in has that motive in mind. And that is the 25% of my mind where I'm like, this could be bad.
But let's look at those. No, let's look at those spots. Real quick, look at those spots.
No,
Portland, Seattle dominates the Northwest. The Giants own the Bay Area.
Sure. I agree.
Why would you go compete with that?
Because it's not just competing with that. It's where your money is going to go the furthest. And for some people, maybe California is not the option for that. Or maybe like the Chargers did, they knew that even though they wouldn't be drawing in LA, even though they'd be like number 8 in terms of the fandom, the Chargers are worth more now today than they were when they were in San Diego.
But they were new football teams coming to the area. It was different than an established baseball.
I don't think the Padres are leaving either.
Right.
I'm just saying with new ownership, change can happen. And that is the 25% of my brain that I think is bad.
If you don't think that they're leaving, how can it be better?
Wait, what?
You just said you don't think the Padres are going to be leaving
on the chance that they do leave.
Okay, but let's just say they don't. Can it be any worse than what's been going on the last 2-3 years?
Be worse. Yes, somebody could come in and tank and literally just collect paychecks and not rebuild after they stop.
Again, but how is that different than the last 3 seasons?
The last 3 seasons, they've been playoff teams, spending a ton of money
because of what Peter Seidler paid for.
You're right, and I don't know that what John Seidler has in the future. Obviously, his plan is to sell the team, but there are bad owners out there. And I think John Seidler will qualify as a bad owner. Maybe. We haven't really seen a lot from John Seidler, so we don't know. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Big 3 here. Coming up in a little bit, dating game with the new names out there. We'll get to it all here on San Diego Sports 760. Alan Sliwa is going to be joining us at 1:30 to talk some NBA trade deadline. But Sammy, go ahead, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Where are we going? Super Bowl Sunday. Patriots.
Oh, yeah, that's happening.
Patriots and Seahawks.
Did you know the freaking Pro Bowl was last night?
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
The NFC won.
The Pro Bowl is a disgrace to the game of football. They need to stop that. Yeah, and the comments from Shador after, he's like, it's not like, dude, just stop. Just stop. Anyway, there's real football being played on Sunday. Patriots, Seahawks, line has stayed steady at 4.5. Question is this, though, big picture. Does either team have a chance to become a dynasty?
No, not in the traditional sense. No. The Patriots, I guess, in their past have shown the propensity to do it. Does anyone think Drake May is Tom Brady? I personally don't yet. Maybe he becomes that way. I don't see either of them running into dynasty talk because I think the Chiefs are going to be back in a couple of years. I think the AFC is going to bounce back after a really down year this year. And I think the Seahawks is playing too hard a division. What is the one thing required for dynasties to take flight? Soft divisions. We saw it with the Patriots. We saw it with the Warriors in the West for a while. We've seen it with the Chiefs over as the AFC West has gotten better. It's become a little more difficult. So, no, I don't think that either the Seahawks or the Patriots can rip this into 3 and 5 years. That's not on my bingo card whatsoever.
Neither Seattle?
Neither.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. New England, no. And the odds for next season's Super Bowl has already come out. And the fact that the Patriots are in the teens and they're playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday tells you a lot.
Where are the Seahawks at?
Number 1. They're the favorite.
Really?
They're the favorite. They're the favorite. Seattle's 2. Then I believe there's Buffalo up there, Baltimore, Green Bay. Then there's the Chargers, Chiefs, and there's like the Lions, Philly. But they're telling you a lot with the fact that they don't think. I mean, New England have they had the easiest road to the playoffs of all time?
Yes.
I mean, you play a Charger team with the worst offensive line in the NFL. You play the Texans without Nico Collins going into the game. They're starting running back Woody Marks. They're starting tight end Dalton Schultz. And they're starting left tackle Tunsil get all hurt in the game and Stroud those 4 picks. And they barely win that game. And then you go to Denver without their quarterback. And then you barely win that game. And the only real touchdown you scored was because Jarrett Stidham fumbled the ball on his own 8-yard line. I don't see New England becoming a dynasty. I expect the Bills to maintain their stranglehold on that division. But Seattle, I'm not saying dynasty because there's too many good young quarterbacks in the NFC. Like the Niners and Rams will obviously be back next year in the division. It's not an easy division to run through. Then you have the Bears. Caleb Williams has looked great. Jaden Daniels will be back in the picture. Like there's a lot of teams there that I don't think that you're just going to be able to walk over. Philly never stays down for long. So I don't think either team becomes a dynasty. If one was more likely to, I would go with the Seahawks, but I don't think either team becomes a dynasty.
All right, we're going to have to rip here. What's next?
Let's go to big NBA trade of the day. Anthony Davis moved again to the Washington Wizards. Like I personally don't get this. Like if you're the Wizards, why are you trying to get Anthony Davis when it's not like you're a contending team right now and he's an injury prone player?
So Wizards, whatever. Mavs, what are we doing? What did you actually get for Luka Doncic?
Nothing.
Exactly.
They got Chris Middleton and picks.
I cannot believe, and the picks aren't even that good. They have like a OKC pick, which I think is going to be number 30 coming up next year. They have a Warriors pick, which is never going to be that good. Like it's not good picks either. The Mavs are disaster mode.
I'm just curious so the trade deadline's at 12 o'clock tomorrow. There's been so many moves. Jaren Jackson Jr. moved. The Anthony Davis moved. Saric moved. Like there's been a gazillion pieces moved around. It feels like all these teams are the Bulls are dumping players maybe to get Giannis. Like it feels like everyone's moving these pieces around to try and free up and get Giannis. So I'm curious if Giannis and John Morant get moved here in the next 24 hours.
Hey, there's a new trade in the NBA.
What just happened?
Jared McCain to the Thunder for 4 draft picks.
Yeah, they see like that's probably an overpay, but if you're Oklahoma City, you go.
They have so many draft picks.
Right. It's like, okay, we'll add a young, really good guard who was kind of buried on the depth chart in Philly.
Jared McCain, he's a TikToker, right?
Yeah, he played at Duke.
How about it?
He was going to be rookie of the year last year until he got hurt.
And he makes TikToks all the time.
Yeah. Did you see the Grizzlies per report? They're not taking into account what John Morant wants. Like they're going to send him anywhere. They're not even asking him where he wants to go.
That's what happens when you flash a gun on social media these days.
Yeah.
You don't get choices anymore. All right. It's San Diego Sports 760. Quick break here. We'll react to some of these YouTube comments coming in. There's some good ones. And we will give you the dating game of the Padres' potential suitors. Bachelor number 1, you're on deck. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Got 13 chances today for you to win $1,000, and we have that every single weekday here on San Diego Sports 760 every hour from 6 to 6. You just listen for the keyword, enter it at sportssd.com. Your next chance to win coming up at 2 o'clock today. All right, Alan Sliwa is going to be joining us in about 8 minutes to talk about the NBA trade deadline. But first, we do want to give you the news of the day here. So Kevin Acee reporting. Actually, Dennis Lin reported last night that the Padres and Shiel Seidler had settled their lawsuit. There's still some things to be closed between the two sides, but for the most part, things are copacetic now between Peter Seidler's widow and the Seidler brothers who currently own and manage the Padres. And then today, Kevin Acee has an article out which originally named Joe Lacob, who owns the Warriors, as somebody who has come down to San Diego, met with the Padres as early as last week, and are interested in buying the Padres. Kevin's article also says he's the leading suitor according to league sources. And then two more names came out. Both of these now in Kevin's article, originally reported by Sportico, Jose Feliciano and Dan Friedkin. Now, Dan Friedkin, born in San Diego, I believe he operates out of Houston now, owns a couple of soccer teams. Jose Feliciano also owns the Premier League club Chelsea. Both of them rich, as well as Joe Lacob. All three of them apparently interested in buying the Padres. So what we decided to do, let's play a little game show.
Hey!
A little, what do they call these? The dating games, the
Match game.
the little Bachelor in Paradise. We can kind of set this up as if they were all eligible bachelors. So we know Joe Lacob's story, but he's bachelor number one for the San Diego Padres because apparently, according to league sources, Joe Lacob's the leader in the clubhouse potentially to buy the Padres. So Joe Lacob owns the Golden State Warriors. Joe Lacob has been a part of kind of bringing the Warriors back from the brink, if you will. And he was at the helm when they won all these championships with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steve Kerr as the head coach. Joe Lacob would be a pretty good option.
Also, Joe Lacob tried to buy the Giants.
Yeah.
And they basically told him to pound sand. So being in the same division, don't you think you would want to stick it to the Giants? I think it'd be a fantastic hire. He has been the, as you said, leader in the clubhouse, kind of shown the most interest the last couple of months. Lacob, obviously with the NBA, to what you just said, changed. I mean, the Warriors were one of the most forgotten about franchises in the entire NBA, and now they're one of the most recognizable franchises in the NBA. I hope he would take the same approach with baseball, so I think Joe Lacob would be an excellent bachelor.
I'd also say Joe Lacob is kind of used to doing things on a little bit of a budget. Obviously, the budget has changed in Golden State, but it was kind of a poverty franchise when he first took them over. They literally shared a parking lot with the Oakland A's. It was the Oracle Arena, which had a lot of grit and grime to it. I loved that place, man, but it was a kind of dirt hole, and the area around it was too. Well, he got Chase to jump on board, moved them into the Bay Area, into the city, and now they have this beautiful, huge arena, one of the most rich franchises in the NBA, and of course, winningest franchises in the NBA. All right, next up, bachelor number 2. His name is Jose Feliciano. He is the co-founder of Clear Lake Capital. Sounds like a rich name. Clear Lake Capital? Come on. That dude's got some money. In fact, Clear Lake Capital has more than $90 billion in assets under management, and it scored some of the industry's best returns, Sammy. The firm is known for buying software, industrial, and consumer products companies. In 2022, Clear Lake joined with another billionaire investor to buy the English soccer team Chelsea FC, which is one of the most popular soccer franchises in the world. He also worked in investment banking at Goldman Sachs, and his name is now being linked to the San Diego Padres. His net worth as of February 4th, 2026, that's today, $3.9 billion.
I'm with it.
Soccer.
Hey, Chelsea, by the way.
Chelsea's a big deal. I've heard of them.
Yeah, didn't they have Pulisic for a little while? Like, that Chelsea's been
probably.
I'm not going to speak on Premier League soccer facts, so I get flamed on the text line. But yes, basically in this game, anyone is better what they currently have. What are you doing there with the camera?
If you can see on YouTube, this is what he looks like. That's Jose. Young guy.
Listen,
he's the 1,050th richest person in the world.
They need new blood. They need a little bit of a change because, again, John Tyler is not Peter, and I think this whole lawsuit between Shield and the brothers, like the San Diego and Padre fans need to be done with this. And
I
have
agree,
someone,
but I really hesitate on you saying things can't get worse. They can absolutely get worse.
I don't know how. I genuinely don't know how.
All right, well, let's do this real quick here. Our buddy Rich on YouTube said fire sale is worse, and that's absolutely right.
I don't understand why someone would come buy a franchise
because you could still make money doing it.
Right. So
Is the
then,
reason.
so then you're going to be public.
Why do the Pittsburgh Pirates never hold on to guys? Why do the Oakland A's never hold on to guys?
I know, but the Padres are a better franchise than both of those two. And
I
you
agree.
already know what happened when Dean Spanos went to LA. So you're going to come by the Padres and be public enemy number one in San Diego
and still make money.
By the way,
yes, there are people out there who would do that.
$350 million in debt, $450 million in debt. So you're going to pay off all that debt and then sell everyone off?
Because you could still make money.
I think
there are people who would do that. That is absolutely a possibility.
Oh, but how is that better than what John has done right now?
Because John Seidler, they're at least in playoff contention
but not
every
because,
year.
Not because of him, Ben. Not because of him.
Okay, what has he done that's made him so bad?
Nothing. He's done nothing.
Again, I'm
making
not
my point.
advocating for John Seidler to maintain control. I'm just saying the devil, sometimes is better than the devil.
Do you think that John Seidler has done a good job?
I think he's done nothing job. He hasn't. They haven't gotten any better.
Nothing a good job for a team that needs to get over the hump.
I agree with you, Sammy, but I'm just saying, like you say, things can't get any worse. They can absolutely get worse.
Again,
at least he's maintained.
Outside of them moving the team, which is not going to happen.
The fire sale is worse. Fernando Tatis Jr. gone. Jackson Merrill gone. Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts
about that
gone.
in the offseason because they have no prospects.
Right, but imagine everybody gone without the intention to rebuild. That's the worst case scenario.
Do you think someone buying a team wants to trade one of the most marketable stars in all of Major League Baseball and Fernando Tatis Jr.?
I'm not saying they do. I'm saying that is a possibility. That is absolutely 100% unequivocally a possibility.
I would rather take a swing on a new owner who maybe will turn out to be great because right now what's happening up there is not getting it done.
Bachelor number 3, potentially the most eligible bachelor, Dan Friedkin, is the owner and CEO of the Friedkin Group. He is worth $9.9 billion as of today. He owns Gulf States Toyota, which sold $11.4 billion worth of Toyotas in 2024. That company, based in Houston, has exclusive rights to distribute Toyota vehicles in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Oklahoma. His father, Thomas, started the business. He passed it down to Dan Friedkin. He was born in San Diego. How about that? He also has a film production studio that produced Flowers of the Killer Moon, a 2023 Martin Scorsese flick, which I did not see, but I heard decent things about. And in 2024, the Friedkin Group acquired fellow billionaire Farhad Mashiri's majority stake in Everton Football Club, the English soccer team. He is 60 years old. He owns a bunch of car dealerships. He is almost a self-made billionaire, but we will see if he wants to buy the San Diego Padres. He's the richest of the group. I like Dan Friedkin.
858 is a diehard Chelsea fan. I can tell you that Jose Feliciano does not hesitate to spend and spend and spend.
I like that. Again, I like the fact that there's some owners who might be coming in here to spend a bunch of money, but I am cautious to the fact that there are owners in the world of baseball who want to do the opposite thing.
Again, can't really get any worse.
Sammy, they just spent like $250 million on the payroll a year ago.
Did John write that check?
He wrote some of them.
Yeah, no, he did.
He actually
Peter wrote the check.
But he literally did write the checks last year.
No, what did they do in the offseason last year? No, explain to me what they did in the offseason last year.
They didn't trade the entire team away. They kept it competitive.
Oh, so they didn't trade the entire team away.
They easily could have. They didn't. I'm not advocating for John Seidler to stay. It
sounds like you are advocating for John Seidler to stay.
I am warning that there are worse options out there, is the warning. And I don't think John Seidler necessarily cares who he sells the team to. He's going to sell it to the highest bidder.
The fact that you just said that John Seidler doesn't care who he sells the team to is a direct example as to why there is new life that needs to be the owner of the San Diego Padres.
The only thing that I'm pushing back on that you say is that it can't get any worse.
Outside of them moving the team, it can't get worse.
It can absolutely get worse without them moving the team. They can go into a decade of being not competitive.
Okay. Well, what they are now is a perennial
playoff team,
fringe team that can't get over the hump.
Playoff team that has absolutely had a real shot at the World Series the last couple of years.
Oh, really? Do you want to swing for the fences and try to actually go beat the Dodgers, or do you want to keep doing the same thing every year?
Not for nothing. They did just beat the Dodgers in the playoffs like 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah, that's something.
And what has happened since?
3 years ago is not very long in sports time.
But have they won a banner yet?
They have not.
No. So I want someone to come in here.
This is the closest they've been in their franchise's history outside of a couple years in the 90s and 80s.
You feel like if they had an owner who would spend money and go over the hill, they might actually go get a World Series.
We are 5 minutes past where we were supposed to take a commercial break. Alan Sliwa is next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This part is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. San Diego State gets a big win over Wyoming last night on the Mesa, 72-63. They'll be back Saturday taking on Air Force, who is currently 3-19 on the season. Per Kevin Acee, Joe Lacob met with the Padres ownership last week about a potential sale. A couple other names being thrown in there as of recently. SDFC beat Pumas last night 4-1. They'll be back on February 10th for the second leg of their game. And Anthony Davis traded to the Washington Wizards for Chris Middleton and a collection of draft picks. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and help you save time and money down the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer is going to take over then. Text line, I promise we will get to all of these coming up at the end of the show.
We're going to get to them. I am excited to respond to these. I don't understand
how Sammy is so entrenched in his side of a clearly wrong argument.
No, it's absolutely factual. People just don't want to admit it. It's okay.
But
it's
we'll
fine.
get to it in just a little bit. With that, we bring on Alan Sliwa. He's the host of Hoops Talk with Alan Sliwa on YouTube. Subscribe there. It's a good follow, man. Alan's had a couple of viral moments here over the last couple of days. Alan Sliwa, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we love having you. So give us you want to start with the Anthony Davis trade and what the Dallas Mavericks have done since trading away Luka Doncic? Because it feels like they got nothing back in that deal.
Yeah, I think it just kind of puts the nail in the coffin, right? Like, first it was the shock of, what do you mean they traded Luka? Then there's the aftermath of everybody just kind of, you could try to make it. Nico Harrison, yeah, defense wins championships. He liked the roster that he was putting together. Anthony Davis gets injured. Kyrie Irving gets injured. Nico Harrison gets fired. And then just over a year after they trade for AD, he's traded to the Washington Wizards. It will literally go down as one of the worst trades in NBA history. Obviously, we'll see what happens with Luka and how much he's able to accomplish with the Lakers and when it's all said and done with him. But, yeah, I get it. I kind of understand why Dallas is moving on and why they're just putting all their chips in the basket of Cooper Flagg and rebuilding from that situation or that position. But man, it puts an end to an era that's one of the ugliest, most confusing eras I've ever seen. And I don't know how many Anthony Davis jerseys they sold in Dallas, but those probably on clearance now. Probably trying to get rid of those last few.
What do you make of the activity at this trade deadline? It feels like Jaren Jackson Jr., Anthony Davis, so many players have been on the move, but the players that we all thought were going to be on the move, and Ja Morant and Giannis, haven't been traded so far. What do you make of the activity of the NBA trade deadline so far?
I love it. And, every team's in a different position. So I think it's all, if you're looking at what chapter are you in, if you're a franchise out there, are you a team that's going all in right now and you're like, all right, we got to make this move because we're in our window? Are you a team like the Utah Jazz that's like, well, let's trade for Jaren Jackson Jr. and let's wait till some of our players get healthy and maybe we could make the playoffs next year? Are you the Cavs and are like, well, we'll take a chance here on James Harden, but we also know we're trying to, there's the aprons and trying to save money and the luxury tax. So every team's kind of in a different situation and a position. So I like the activity. I think it's one of the things that makes the NBA so unique over all the other sports. The NBA trade deadline and free agency are sometimes more popular than the actual NBA finals. And I mean that when I say that. I mean, literally, people get, I feel like, as excited about the offseason or in the middle of the season when it's a trade deadline. So I love all the activity.
Alan Sliwa joining us today on San Diego Sports 760. Alan, it's been quiet for the Lakers so far. Do you think they do anything by the trade deadline?
I think if they did something, it's either just a really small move where they're not giving up draft compensation or they're not giving up that first rounder. And if they do give up that first rounder, then I'm just assuming there's a player out there that they thought, hey, we want this guy for the next 2, 3, 4 years. We're okay that it's going to eat up into some of our cap space in the summer. But all signs are kind of signaling towards them probably a stronger chance that they don't do something and they end up holding on to that first rounder. Maybe this also has to do, let's wait to see what happens with Giannis. Mark Stein, wrote in his Substack yesterday that the Lakers still are still have a viable chance of getting Giannis Antetokounmpo, but the only way that happens is if he's still available after the trade deadline. So the Lakers could be saying to themselves, as long as there's a shot at Giannis, let's keep all our first rounders and take our chances there. Obviously, we know Giannis hasn't gone anywhere yet. Because of that, maybe that's part of the reason to do why the Lakers are holding on to some of those assets.
If Giannis is held till the offseason, do you think the Lakers could make a deal of simply draft picks and rotational guys, or would it have to be picks and a sign and trade with Austin Reeves?
Yeah, here's part of the difficulty that Lakers are going to deal with. Austin Reeves has a say in all of this, right? If he's going to be an unrestricted free agent and he can go get paid whatever he wants to go get paid based off of, not whatever he wants to get paid. He'd go play for any team that has interest in him. The question for the Lakers and the question for Austin Reeves, what if he doesn't want to play for the Bucks? What if he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuilding process in Milwaukee? What if he thinks, man, there's so many other places I'd like to, if it's not going to be with the Lakers. And he's been very, very clear that he wants to be a Los Angeles Laker. But if they're going to need a lot of things to also go their way, and they're going to need Austin Reeves to be able to, work with them on trying to do some type of a sign and trade. So the assets are there in the sense that if the Milwaukee Bucks say, we would love to have Austin Reeves, give us your 3 first rounders. We don't really care for some of the other deals that are out there. But what it's really going to take, it's going to take Giannis saying, I want to be a Los Angeles Laker. And by the way, I don't think that's a crazy stretch. You got obviously new ownership that's stepping in. You got Luka Doncic, who's 26 years old, one of the top 5 players in the NBA. I think the Lakers are going to become more attractive, and I think they become more attractive as you get into the summer, and they could kind of clear their books a little bit. LeBron probably not part of that future, and they could really start planning with other superstars.
Alan Sliwa joining us, host of Hoops Talk with Alan Sliwa on YouTube. Go subscribe there. Alan covering the NBA just about as good as anybody out there. Alan, I also know you are a San Diego Padres fan. Not sure if you've seen the news today, but Kevin Acee reporting there's 3 names now in the runnings that are at least public on buying the Padres from the Seidler family. We got Jose Feliciano, who owns a couple of soccer teams. Dan Friedkin, who also owns a soccer team, and Joe Lacob, who owns the Golden State Warriors. As a Padres fan, do you have any thoughts on the Padres ownership potentially changing hands?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's critical. It's as honestly, and I'm not trying to sound dramatic here when I say it, but it's as important as a moment in San Diego sports history, just based off of if you get the right owner. I mean, we know what that means in sports. Everything is about the right ownership. So I can't tell you anything about the 2 owners you mentioned that own soccer teams. But what I can tell you, Joe Lacob, dude's a winner, right? I mean, if there's one thing that I could take away is if you had an owner like Joe Lacob, who seems like a very competitive person, who seems like somebody that genuinely wants to win, that took a Golden State Warriors franchise who was beyond irrelevant in the NBA and turned them into a dynasty. And I know a lot of people may say, well, that's not all on ownership. Ownership's got a lot to do with the team's success. Any successful business out there typically has good ownership. And you look at that vice versa. If you have bad ownership or ownership that just doesn't care about winning, that's the worst position that you can be in. And of course, for the city of San Diego, you just want to make sure that the Seidlers sell that team, then whoever takes over that franchise can continue what the vision was of Peter Seidler, which is to try to win the city's first championship. So I think it's a critical moment. I love hearing the name Joe Lacob. I just don't know enough about the other owners. My only hope is at the end of the day, when the dust settles, that owner has true, genuine interest in taking care of San Diego and trying to win a World Series.
What do you make of the AJ Preller kind of? He's the GM, but he's not signing his contract. Had kind of an interesting presser last week. Do you think this is related to that, or do you think that this is kind of something to nothing?
Yeah, I felt like after listening to the presser, it felt like this is more the ball's in AJ Preller's court, or it's AJ Preller saying, I need a deal that makes sense. I've done what I've done here in San Diego. You might love it. You might hate it. You can question certain signings. You can question trading so many different farm players. But really, at the end of the day, when the dust settles, it's as good of a run as the Padres have had. I think it's impossible not to think that the sale of the team has something to do with it. I've always kind of been under the assumption if if it's a fair deal for AJ Preller, I do think he should sign it because you never know what can happen once new ownership comes in. Maybe they have a different vision. Maybe they have a different plan. But of course, it's unsettling. You got somebody you got two big questions for the Padres, and we're not even going to name anybody on the roster. We're just talking about who's the ownership going to be, and is your president of baseball operations going to continue to be there past this season? Those are not exactly the best questions that you want to ask when you're walking into another year, and obviously you're looking at the future of the Padres. But I'd like to see AJ Preller back. Again, he hasn't been perfect, but there has been success, more success than we've seen in Padres baseball in a long time.
It's a weird time for the Padres, man. You hit the nail on the head. It is one of the biggest moments in franchise history. It's one of the biggest moments in San Diego sports history. What's going to happen here as these names continue to come out? And we'll see how high the bidding war goes. Maybe Alan Sliwa has a couple bill in the bank somewhere that he can help out and own the Padres, because I think Alan would do an excellent job.
Yeah, I'd rather have that bill to go bring the Chargers back, but I don't got that money. You know,
that'd be pretty cool too.
All right, nothing
Alan,
I could do there.
Thank you for your time, man. Everyone go follow and subscribe to Alan on YouTube. Hoops Talk with Alan Sliwa. He's got the best coverage of everything going on Lakers and NBA as well. Thank you for your time, man, and hopefully the best happens with the Padres here soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
Alan Sliwa, subscribe. Hoops Talk with Alan Sliwa on YouTube. It's a good follow, man. Go check him out. All right, we're going to read all these texts on the other side. Sammy's getting an onslaught right now. We'll let you know what they're saying. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. We only got a few minutes left here, so let's rip a little bit. If you missed the news of the day, the news is that we got names for potential people to come in and buy the Padres. 3 of them to be exact. Joe Lacob, the owner of the owner of the Warriors, excuse me, and then a couple of soccer owners. 2 of them, Jose Feliciano, who owns, I believe, Chelsea. And then Dan Friedkin, who owns a bunch of Toyota dealerships. In fact, Gulf States Toyota, which is the exclusive Toyota rights holder in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Oklahoma. And he also owns a couple of soccer teams. So that's kind of what we're up for right now. Now, the debate has raged on all show long. Sammy saying it can't get worse than what's going on with John Seidler and the current ownership group. And I'm here to tell you, it can always get
619
worse.
says, Sammy, I love you, man, but it could get much worse than John Seidler. I
I
agree.
think he said so much
I agree
worse.
that he hasn't done much, but he has marinated what Preller did. He hasn't cut spending of our best players.
I don't think he's marinated, but the texture said he maintained.
Oh, maintain. I can't read from here. 619, how does Sammy not understand anything can get worse? Here's my thing.
All caps, by the way.
We'll read the rest of these.
It was more like this.
512.
How does Sammy not understand that anything can get
512.
worse?
Absolutely can get worse. Look no further than the St. Louis Cardinals. 619. Sammy is killing my sports
don't say
boner
that.
from earlier.
No, why don't you dump that?
We can't say that?
No, probably not.
Why can't we say that?
It's not exactly the scientific term.
619. Sammy, you didn't live through the Tom Warner, John Morris, Jeff Murray years. You could do far worse than John Tyler. Here's my thing. Yes, that's all true. But what they're doing right now, what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And my thinking is, wouldn't you want to take a risk on someone coming in here that has a vision for the city and the team swinging for the fence versus what happens every year? They get to the playoffs, we get excited about them, and at the end of the day, they're probably going home in the first or second round.
I am going to take the last word here because we're out of time. And I will say this, a new owner can absolutely be great for the San Diego Padres. And I am 75% hopeful that that's exactly what will happen, that someone will come in, take control of this Padres organization, continue on with what Peter Seidler was trying to do, get better personnel in here, get a better roster going, spend a bunch of money, compete with the Dodgers, all of that. That is the hope. Absolutely. The worry is that someone can come in, buy the team, make money every single year, and do exactly what the Padres did for the bulk of their existence.
If you want to win a championship, sell the team. That's how we're ending the show.
Absolutely. Sell the team. I would agree with that. But there is a chance that it gets worse. And everyone, I think, agrees with that except for Sammy Long.
I stand by my position.
We're out of here. John Schaefer's coming up next. Plenty more Padres talk coming your way at San Diego Sports 760. We'll see you tomorrow.